Okay, so let's begin with the session. Today, it's a day one session actually. We will talk about various things today. Introduction to PeopleSoft. You know, what are all the navigations that we use when we set up PeopleSoft for any organization? What are all the sub menus do we have under the setup HRMS area? All these things we will discuss today. Well, before we begin, as you might already know that I also provide the study material which has everything in it, whatever I discuss in the session. So in case you forget the things, if you tend to forget the things, then you can always refer to this study material, you know, to keep yourself, you know, up to date with the whatever I teach. So, and I also record this session and will share it with you in case you want to revisit what I had discussed, and that will be available to you. That will be made available to you after this session. Okay. So now let's begin with the PeopleSoft HRMS. We will finish it. It will be a 2.5 hour session. Okay. So we will cover these topics in today's session. Introduction to PeopleSoft, concept of business unit, company and reg region, set control fields and table set sharing concept, person and position model, and establishment IDs. Okay. Okay, Lakshmi?
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
Have you typed in anything? Or are you still in the login page?
No, I haven't logged in yet. I am still in the login page. Okay. So, well, so let's first understand what is PeopleSoft HRMS. Okay. So, well, PeopleSoft HRMS is an integrated suite of various applications. Well, this term might be confusing to you, but let me just you know, shed some lights on it. So, when I say it is an integrated suite of various applications, what are those various applications which form PeopleSoft HRMS suite? So those applications are like absence management, core HR, performance management, global payroll, North American payroll, benefits. So all these different applications actually combine and form this enterprise suite, PeopleSoft HRMS. Now, why do we have all these applications in place in PeopleSoft? To cater to various business processes. So, what do you think, what are the business processes are there in any organization? So when I say business processes, what exactly I'm referring to? Can you answer that? Lakshmi?
Yeah, like getting a person tagged into a project.
Sorry?
Tagging a person to a project or supervisor, like maybe those things.
There are many. I mean, if you're working in a company, then you might be aware of, like, if you are going on a vacation, then you raise a absence request, right? That request gets approved by your manager. Then it follows a chain of approval. If in case it is there, your performance evaluation happens every year, right? You get benefits from your company, and for that you get enrolled into various benefit plans, right? Medical, life insurance, dental, or maybe more, right? So all these things are done in a system, right? They're not done on paper, pencil and paper, right? They are done on a system, and there is a system in place which is which enable users to, you know, automate all these processes, which enable users to do all these activities on their own convenience, right? You just log into system, you enroll yourself into various benefit plans that the company provide to you. though there is a cutoff date for that, there is a specific time duration during which you have to do that. So there is a process. There is a process in place for all these business activities, right? So cater to all these business activities, we have these various applications. So to conduct all these benefit related activities, we have benefits application in PeopleSoft. To carry out absence related activities, we have absence management, right? To carry out some core HR related activities, we have core HR application, right, in PeopleSoft HRMS. So likewise, there are other applications in PeopleSoft which we use for our day-to-day business activities. Clear? Yeah. Okay. So now let's talk about what are the components of any PeopleSoft application. When I say components, what are its sites? So basically there are two sides of any PeopleSoft application. One is its setup part, and second one is when it is actually used in production environment. Okay. So to be able to use any PeopleSoft application, we first have to set it up, right? And after that only we can use it. And even after it has been implemented, we used to, or we often make changes into it. So changes always comes in any PeopleSoft application. We customize it. We make changes in the pages. We make changes in the reports which are associated with this application. We do various other things with the application even after it is implemented. So when we are about or when we are to make any change into an application in the way it is working currently, we have to go to the setup part. We have to make the changes in the setup part. Okay. So there are two parts of, or there are two sides of any PeopleSoft application. So its setup and its uses in the production environment. Okay. Okay, Lakshmi.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm assuming that PeopleSoft is installed in your, you have access to PeopleSoft environment somewhere, maybe in your office, or you have installed it on your laptop or somewhere. So this is the mandatory thing. You must have access to PeopleSoft application from somewhere. Okay.
I have it in my office.
Okay. Okay, so let's now talk about the setup. We have gone through what is PeopleSoft, why do we use it, what are its various applications that we're talking about. Now we will understand its setup part. So let's also log into PeopleSoft environment and look at the things side by side. Okay. So let's say you are going to implement PeopleSoft HRMS for an organization. Okay. So how are you going to start with the setup? So there is a specific order that you follow when you set up PeopleSoft application. Okay. So when I say set up PeopleSoft application, it is different from installing PeopleSoft application. Okay. So installing is a different set of activities than when we are actually setting it up. So where do we begin it? Where do we begin the setup from? So this is the place where we actually start with the setup. Okay. So we start with the installation table. Now before we go into that, I would like to first outline the various navigations in this setup HRMS area. Okay. I'm just outlining them. So we have different types of navigations here, and they have they are there for a different purpose. For a specific purpose. Okay. So when we do anything over here, it has a scope. So when we make any changes, or when we do any setup from the install area, it has a certain scope. It might or might not affect all the applications. So I told you, right, PeopleSoft has various applications. And first, those applications have to be set up before they can be used in the production environment. So here, so all those applications are those set up from this product related area, but there are other areas also where we actually do the setups, and these setups, these activities might or might not affect these applications. So you know, to put it in another way, in other words, the things which we do here in the install area or in the foundation table area, these have a global scope. Okay, these have global effect. Global effect means they have effect across all the applications. They aren't specific to any particular application. Okay, so let's go. Let's walk these menus through. Okay, so the first thing that we do here is the installation table. Okay, so installation table look like this. So this is the page for installation table. So here what we basically do, we select the products that the organization is willing to use, that the organization is having the license for. So let's say you are implementing PeopleSoft HRMS for a particular organization, and that organization is willing to use only core HR, absence management, performance management, benefits. That's it. They don't want. They are not interested in profile management. They are not interested in global payroll. They are not interested in time and labor. So based on their choice, you will make your selection here. So we will select the products here. Anything we do here in this page, installation table page, any changes we do, to let the changes take effect, we have to save it, we have to sign out from this page, from the PeopleSoft PI environment, and then we have to reboot the application server. Okay, so let's say we are making any changes here, we are unselecting some products which we are not going to use, or which organization is not willing to use, or they don't have the license for. We did some changes, we saved it, we signed out, and then we went to our application server, and then we rebooted it. So this is the application server, and we have to reboot this application server so that the changes can take effect. Okay, so I have the PeopleSoft environment installed on my laptop. So I have application. I have a Windows server where I have installed PeopleSoft environment, the entire PeopleSoft, and I'm accessing that PeopleSoft application from my Windows desktop. Okay, so this is what we do in this page. Okay, so we will come back to this page again later. In the following sessions, we will come back to this page, because there are some other things also that we need to discuss on this page. But for now, just understand that this is the place where we begin the setup, and this is the first thing that we do. Selecting all the products that our organization is going to use is the first thing that we do when we begin with the PeopleSoft HRMS setup. Okay. There are some other things. I mean, the next step is we define the countries. Okay. See, in PeopleSoft, when we set up PeopleSoft, when we implement PeopleSoft HRMS for any organization, there is a certain order that we follow. Okay. So we have to follow a specific order in which we are going to define the things. So first we dealt with this installation table. We did something. Now the next step is to define the countries. Okay. Okay, Lakshmi. Yeah, so the next step is to define the countries. After that, we will be defining reg regions. Okay, so country. Defining country, there is no logic attached to it. There is no concept actually. We will define as many countries as where the organization operates. So let's say there is an organization, the company which you are actually going to implement PeopleSoft HRMS operates in 10 different countries. So in PeopleSoft, we will define those countries. Though all the countries are already defined, already provided in the system. If in case they aren't, then we will define those many countries, and there is really no concept involved. We will define as many countries as the organization operates in. There is one thing, however, I would like to explain you, and let's go to that. So let's open. You might be aware of that every country has its own address format, right? For if I open for India, we have in the country table page, we have a tab called address format. But what exactly we do from this page? So every country, as you might know, has its own address format, right? So we can define this address format here. Okay. So let's say after we define the address format here, we are hiring a person in India. Okay, so when we are going to add address for that person using the address page, so that page will display the fields based on this format. Okay, so that page will display all these fields. So in all these fields, the details has to be entered. If we can override the label of all these fields. So let's say it is address 1 for now. We can override it to some address, more user-friendly language. So whatever you override here, the same will be reflected in when the page is actually displayed when we are adding a address for a person. Okay, so we add a person through add a person component, right? In the workforce administration, we have personal information, add a person, right? Or modify a person also. So in here, when we hire a person, we add address, home address, business address, right? So when we add address, so the address format is actually picked up from this page. So since each country has their own address format, so for each country we can define the address format. So when a person is hired, let's say in USA, then the address format for USA will be picked up from this page. All right? We can include or exclude fields from here. These are the check boxes through which we can do that. All right? Now let's go to the reg region page. Regulatory region. So, well, there is a concept associated with regulatory region entity. What exactly we look at when we define a regulatory region? So let's say you are implementing PeopleSoft HRMS for an organization. Now you have defined country before this. Now you have to define reg region, right? So how will you base your decision on defining reg region? What will be the concept? So when I say regulatory region, what does it mean? Regulatory means rules and regulation, right? Region means area, right? A site or location, you can say. So a specific area or a region which has specific rules and regulation, government rules and regulations, right? So that's called a regulatory region in PeopleSoft. Okay, so in a country there can be two possibilities. Either a country has uniform rules and regulation across its geographies, or it has different rules and regulation at different places. So if we talk about India, India has uniform tax rules, regulations across the country, right? So for India, we will be defining one region, one regulatory region. Whereas for a country like USA, we have different rules and regulations from state to state. So we will define as many regulatory regions as there are different regions with different rules and regulations, right? So let's say for California, if in California they have different tax rules or government rules, we will be defining a separate region for California state, but the country will still be USA, right? So if we are to define reg region for country India, so we always, since region is based we define the region based on the country. So we enter which country we are going to define the region for. So let's say if we are going to define region for country India, then we'll have to enter, if let's say we are defining new region, so for India, though it would be already there, but if it isn't there, then we would have added this region, and then we have to mention here for which country we are defining this region for. Similarly for USA, but since USA there are regions with different rules and regulations, so for USA it will be little different. So let's say for Illinois is a let's say it's a state with different rules and regulations, so we have to define a region for it. So region name will be something like Illinois, add, and the country will be what? USA, because it is still in the country USA, Illinois region, right? We can save it. Similarly for a different state, let's say there is a state, Florida. So we'll add that FLO, add Florida region. But still it is in the country USA, save it. So one more region for Florida region, one more regulatory region for Florida state, right? So for USA we have now how many regions? 2, right? But for India we have only one region. But there is one more thing here, there is one catch. For USA we still have one region for federal rules and regulations, right? So these regions were for the states, but we will still have one region at the federal level. So one region will still be there with the same name, or we can give a different name, but it will be for entire country USA. It will not be for any particular state, right? It is already created there. So see, there is a region for entire country USA also. Okay, so this is how we. Yes, yeah. Then why do we do that? Yeah, so there are federal rules, federal taxes, right, in USA, and there are state level rules and taxes in USA. So one region will be there for the entire country USA, and other regions will be for the individual states. Okay. Now, what is the use of this? What is the use of regulatory region? We are simply adding a new value. Can you turn off your microphone? So we are simply adding a new value here. We are not defining any tax related thing here in region page, right? There is a simple page. And what exactly is the use of this? So this is basically used in the payroll. So if you are using a North American payroll or global payroll, then there we will be defining tax rules based on the regions. So if you create a region over here, it doesn't mean that it will automatically pull up all the tax related information and will store somewhere. It doesn't mean that. We are just identifying individual regions over here by defining these entities, these individual regions. Okay, then we will be defining tax rules based on these regions in payroll. When we are using North American payroll. Okay, all right.
Okay.
Yeah. So this was about region. There are other things also that we do, which so there are some product specific setups that also we do. These are very fundamental setup. Okay, so now so this was about install submenu here. So that's what we do in the install area, and that's where we actually begin with the setup, as I already told you. So if we go back to our material, study material over here, Okay. So we have seen the install, right? Now the next one is foundation table. Okay. Then common definition and product related. So in foundation table, we actually, define the foundation for PeopleSoft. So when I say foundation, what does it mean? So foundation may be some foundation tables, some control tables that we define from this area, like company, business unit. So these are foundations. Department, location, all these are control tables. So all these entities are defined from the foundation table area. Okay. So this is what we have in foundation table. We will see what is the concept in defining business unit, company, and reg region. Reg region, we have already seen that, but we will see how we define business unit and company, on what basis, and we will also see how it is different from reg region. Okay, so because I have seen when we are, if there is a beginner in PeopleSoft, then they find difficulties, understanding the concept of company, business unit, reg region, country. They look like they're all same. They are not able to distinguish all these entities. Okay, so in the foundation table area, this is what we define. Okay, all the foundation tables are here. Person of interest, holiday schedule, company, location, all these are foundation tables that we define. We will see each one of them in the following sections, but for now just understand that this is what we do in the foundation table area. In the security, we define the security related stuff. Okay, the row level security things. Common definition, we have some, so let's take an example. So there is an approval process, right? In every organization, approval process can be for your absence related activities, or can be your benefit related activities, or can be your performance related activities, right? So if, let's say, you are going to raise an absence request, then absence request is actually follows a chain of approval, right? So that chain of approval, that approval process can be defined from this area, and this approval process, if once defined, can be used in that application. So we can define approval process for any application, for any business activity in this area, and we can use it in specific application wherever we need that. So since approval process is something which is common across all the application, approvals are used across all the applications, right, in different business activities. So that's why we define this approval over here in the common definition area. There are some other things also that we define here, which are common, which are used across the applications. So for now, just understand that this is a place where we define some common elements, for say. Okay. Product related. So from the product related, we define the product specific things. So let's say for absence management, so absence management specific things we will define from this area, global payroll and absence management. So the things which we define here, which we do here, have their scope to their application only. So if we are doing something in this area, global payroll and absence management, so it will be affecting only the absence management application. It will not affect benefit or performance management. Okay, so these are some product specific setups that we do here, and all the applications, all the products are here. I mean, we can do setup. We do setup for all the applications here, all the products here. So this is one stop place for setting up all the products. Okay. We have some system related settings here in the system administration submenu area. Okay. Okay. So this was all about setup HRMS. Let's now understand what are the types of tables in PeopleSoft. Okay. So there are basically three types of tables in PeopleSoft: control table, transaction table, and prompt table. Okay. So control tables store information that is used to process and validate the day-to-day business activities. Now, what are the control tables? I'll give you an example, like department table. Department table is a control table. Now, what does department table has? The list of all the departments, right? Also, which department is under what set ID? I mean, which says that which business unit will be having access to a particular department. So all these, I mean, all the department related information is there in the department control table. Now this department related thing, this department is used by all the applications, right? This data which is there in the department table is used across all the applications. So we use this data in our day-to-day transaction, right? So like department table, there are other control tables, right? Location, job code, cell admin plan. So all these are control tables. Now, what is the place where you can find all the control tables in PeopleSoft? What is that place? It is People Tools, Utilities, Administration, and Record Group. So this is the place where you can find all the control tables. Though you have to go with the record group ID, you will first have to find out the appropriate. So all these are core HR control tables from HR01 to HR18. So all these are core HR control tables. Department, job code, location, job task, contract type. So all these are core HR control tables. All right. So if you open any record group here, you can find all the control tables, grouped into this record group. So these are all control tables in this record group. Okay. So this is where we find all the control tables. Now the control tables are populated when we actually do the setup in the foundation table area. So most of the control tables are here in the foundation table area. There are some also in other places which are specific to a particular application or product. So those control tables are set up from those respective areas, but the control tables like job, department, and location, these are set up from here. So this is when the control tables are populated. Now second one is transaction table. Well, transaction tables are tables which are populated as part of day-to-day business activities. Okay, so for any application has its own transaction table. So the transaction tables are specific to applications. So for core HR, there will be their own transaction tables. For benefits, there will be their own transaction tables, right? So every application has their own transaction tables. So for core HR, some of the transaction tables are like job, person data, effective date, employment, benefit participation, per org instance, per org assignments. All these are core HR, some of the example of core HR transaction tables, right? For absence management, we have their own transaction tables, right? Likewise, for benefits, we have their own transaction tables. Now the third one is prompt table.
1 minute, Santosh, I didn't understand transaction table.
You understood control tables?
Yeah, okay.
So transaction tables, like, let's say we are hiring a person, okay? Let's say we are hiring a person from this page. Sorry, here. Add a person. Okay. So when we hire a person and when we open this page, we fill up these fields, right? Name, we'll add up name, we'll add biographical data, so on, and we'll save it. We'll save this page. So what exactly we are doing here? We are doing a transaction here, right? We are actually hiring a person. Okay. So in this page, we might also use some control information or some foundation information, right? For example, we can use countries defined for this person where he was born. So we'll use that. We will click on this prompt, and we will use one of the countries from this prompt where this person was born. So this is foundation table, right? So we are using foundation table data or control table data in this page, in this transaction page. And when we save this page, this data that we use here, that we define here for this person, is stored in various transaction tables, like person data effective date, names, etc. So the tables which are populated as part of our day-to-day business activities are transaction tables. So when we add the organizational relationship for this person, we'll go to the job data page. It will take us to the job data page, right? There we fill up some other information like department, location for this person, the department where it belongs. So all that information will be stored in the job data table, right? So the job table, again, it's a transaction table. Right? Okay. So like this is a core HR, these are the examples of core HR transaction tables and transactions. So like for benefit also we have their own transaction tables. For absence management also they have their own transaction tables. Okay. So this is what is transaction table. Third one is prompt table. Okay. So prompt table, you might know so let's say we are in this page, we clicked on this prompt, country prompt. So this has come. So this prompt is displaying you some values, right? Set of values. So from where those values are coming? From the prompt table. Okay. So prompt table can combine the data from control table and transaction table and display you a set of valid values in the prompt. So here, though it is just a country data which is displayed in this prompt, we can select one of these countries, but there are other places also where you see a prompt which combines the data from which actually look to both control table and transaction table to display you a valid set of values in the prompt, right? So these are the prompt tables. So you can see this diagram here. Transaction tables are populated with day-to-day business transactions, and the control tables From tables actually access the data from control table and from transaction table combined. Okay. From table can be view or it can be a plain table. Okay. So it just displaying you a prompt page where there are some set of values which are valid for you to use. Okay. So these are all the tables that we have in PeopleSoft. All right. Okay, Lakshmi.
Yeah, okay.
Okay. So now let's concept of business unit, company, and reg region. Okay. Let's see what is this. I mean, what is the how we define business unit, how we define companies when we set up PeopleSoft HRMS for any organization. Okay. So let's take a break for 10 minutes. All right. I have to finish up something. Let's take a break for a short break of 10 minutes. Okay. We'll come back. I have to finish up something. Okay. So let's now again begin with it. Let's continue our session. So we were discussing about the concept of business unit and company and reg region. So if you are implementing PeopleSoft HRMS for any organization who operates in different countries, then how will you define these entities? How will you set up these entities? Business unit, company, reg region. We already discussed on what basis we define regulatory regions. So let's take a scenario. Let's take a company. Let's take an organization for an example. So, but before we do that, let me just outline that business units are always defined from security standpoint. Companies are defined from the standpoint of how many subsidiaries, operations, an organization has. Regulatory regions are defined from the standpoint of what are all the regions with different rules and regulations are there in a particular country where the organization operates. Okay, so this is what we base our decision on. So this is what we look at when we define these individual entities. So let's take a scenario. Let's take an example here. So let's say there is a organization called XYZ Corporation. It operates in 4 countries with its 7 development centers across these 4 countries. Okay. So if you look at this table, as I said that there is an organization which operates in 4 countries. So 4 countries: USA, Canada, India, and UK. Okay. So it has 7 development centers across these 4 countries, 1 business unit services, and 1 technology service in India. Okay. So in USA, it has 2 development centers in Texas and Illinois, 1 business services in California. So this is all its presence in USA. In Canada, it has 2 development centers in Ontario and Quebec. In India, it has 2 development centers in Bangalore and Mumbai, and 1 in one technology services in India. So this is its presence in India. In UK, it has 1 development center. So this is its presence in UK. So this is how it looks like. Now, these 2 are actually subsidiaries of this company, this organization: business services and technology services. So these are actually so this is how how the presence of this organization is across the globe. Okay. Any question on this? So okay, you understood how it what is the presence of this organization across the globe, right? So these are development centers, and it has 2 subsidiaries. 1 is business services and 1 is technology services. Okay. Now let's let's say we are implementing PeopleSoft HRMS for this XYZ corporation. Then on what basis we will define business unit, location and, business unit, company and regulatory region. Okay, so let's first start with the business unit. On what basis we will define business unit? So as I said already that business units are always defined from the security standpoint. Okay, so we will always look at which country will have access to what control data, whether a country will be able to see control information defined for other country, whether within a country different locations will be able to see the control data defined for other locations. So all these are the things which we look at when we define business unit for any organization in PeopleSoft HRMS. Okay, so when we are defining business unit, we have to look at these aspects. So let's say on the security front, we have these two requirements. Okay, so when we are defining business unit, we are talking about security. Security to control data. It is not security. It is not row level security or page security. It is security to control data, control information. All right. So the requirements are the 3 locations in US shouldn't be able to see each other's control data. So this is the first requirement on the security front. The second requirement is one country shouldn't.
Santosh, 1 minute. Just give me a minute. I'll just be back. Somebody is knocking at the door.
Oh yeah, sure. So sure. Yeah. So we have these two requirement on security front, since we are talking about business unit. So it says that the 3 locations in US shouldn't be able to see each other's control data. So let's say department is a control table, right? So let's say department which is defined for California, because there are 3 locations in the USA, right? So in one location, which is California, for California we have defined some X number of departments, and we want that this department shouldn't be visible to Illinois location. Okay, so this is how they want. So 3 locations in US shouldn't be able to see each other's control data. So what will we do? We will define 3 business units for each of these locations in USA. Okay, the second requirement says one country shouldn't be able to see control data defined for another country. Now we have 4 countries, right? And it says that one country shouldn't be able to see control data defined for another country. So we will define 4 countries. Simple. So in total, how many business units will be there? 7. Did you get?
I understood.
You understood, right? So let's say if there was a requirement that in addition to this first point, 2 locations in Canada also shouldn't be able to see each other's control data, then how many business units will you have?
Then 1 more will be there because in Canada we'll have to create 1 business units.
So in total, how many will be there now?
7, 8. 8.
In Canada, there are two locations, and I want that these two locations shouldn't be able to see each other's control data.
So 2 in Canada. Okay, total 1. How can you go up the scale?
Yep.
So in Canada there are 2 locations, so you create 2 business units.
Okay. So total how many will be there now?
USA will have 3, Canada will have 2, then India and 1 in
So how did I come up with 7 then? I mean, before this new addition of requirement, how did I come up with seven answer? Or you said you understood. So how did you understood it?
I don't remember now.
So then why did you say yes?
I thought I understood.
Okay, see, the first requirement says that 3 locations in USA shouldn't be able to see each other's control data. Okay. So we define 3 business units. But there will be still 1 business unit. Okay, so the second point says that one country shouldn't be able to see the control data defined for another country. So there are 4 countries, right? USA, Canada, India and UK. 4 plus 3, 7. Now, what I'm saying now,
3, it should be 6, I guess.
6? How? How?
US will have 3.
Now US will have 4, right? 3 business units for these individual locations, but 1 business unit will be there at the USA level, right? For the entire country USA. Because because there is another requirement that one country shouldn't be able to see the control data defined for another country, right? So that is how it's gonna be. So for USA there will be total 4 business units, right? So now what I'm saying is, now Canada, these 2 locations in Canada now shouldn't be able to see each other's control data. Then how many business units will be there now?
Then there will be 3 in Canada.
Okay, so in total how many?
In India, it's only 1 is required.
Yes. 9, right? 4 plus 3 plus 2, 9. So see, even though in India we have 3 locations, but still we are creating 1 business unit. Why? Because we want to, or we are allowing these 3 locations to see each other's control data. There is no restriction on that because there is no such requirement. If there was a requirement that in India also all these 3 locations shouldn't be able to see each other's control data, then based on that we would have created additional business units, right? Okay, so this is about business unit. Now let's talk about company. Okay, so you remember this? You remember its global presence, right? This XYZ corporation. How its presence is in the globe. Now, when we define the company, we always look at the how many operations, how many different operations this organization does in different countries, or how many subsidiaries are there. Okay, so the nature of business operation and the subsidiaries actually are the deciding factor for defining company. Okay, so now this company, as I said in the beginning, as we already saw, that this company has 2 subsidiaries, right? And it has operations in 4 countries, right? So for USA, this company, this organization will be called as XYZ Corporation USA. For India, it will be called as XYZ Corporation India, right? For Canada, it will be called as XYZ Corporation Canada, right? Now it has 2 more subsidiaries, XYZ Business Services which is in USA, and XYZ Technology Services which is in India, right? So since it has operations in 4 countries, so there will be 4 companies, and it has 2 subsidiaries, right? Technology Services in India and Business Services in USA. So 2 more companies for these 2 subsidiaries. So in total, how many companies will be defined for this XYZ corporation?
6.
6, right? You understood it, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I understood.
Okay. So, so in PeopleSoft, if you look at the same thing in PeopleSoft as to where we define the company from, what is the navigation for that? It's under setup HRMS foundation table. Okay. Organization. First to define business unit. So we have to define 7 business units, right? Add new value, define all 7 business units. This is how we define business unit. Company, the page is there for company. So we have to define 6 business units, right? 6 companies, right? So let's say we are defining company for India. So mostly the company name and country name is same if you are defining the company for entire country, right? So we also mention the country for which we are defining this company. So for India, if we are, so for India, how many companies are we going to define for this XYZ corporation? For country India? 1 for its the whole presence in India. I mean this XYZ India, and 1 for its subsidiary, right? Which is there in India again. And for USA, again 2. 1 for its entire USA and 1 for its subsidiary, right? So for India, since this is India, so we'll enter the country India here, because we are defining the this company for India. So likewise, we will define another company for India. So we'll save it, and then we will again add a new value. We will enter the company name for XYZ Technology Services, and then we will enter the country again India, because both the companies belong to India only, right? Okay. Regulatory region we already discussed, right? How we define the reg region? So just read it out, this reg region part, we already discussed it. How we define it, you will be able to understand it very easily. Now let's talk about set control fields and table set sharing. I mean table set control and table set sharing concept. Okay. Table set control and table set sharing. We hear this term a lot, right? And you also said that you're not very good at it, right? So let's now talk about it. So table set control is a mechanism by which we control access to data sets in control tables. So if we have a control table department, then using table set control mechanism, we will control which business unit or company or reg region will be able to see which department. So we will control the access to these department. Okay. Now to create this entire mechanism, we will have to first understand its individual elements. Set ID, data set or record set, set control field, and record group. Okay. Set ID. So well, set ID is it's very simple. It's just a key in all the control tables. It's identification of data set in a control table. So if we take this department table, for example, department table is a control table. Then let's say in the department table we have these 7-8 departments. Okay. So what we do basically in control tables, we basically group these departments and we identify those groups. So that group is called the data set, and the key by which it is identified is called the set ID. Just hold on a second, okay? Okay. So what I was explaining is that set ID, you would now understand what is set ID. You can clearly see in this diagram. So if we just open the control table in the PIA, let's open this department control table. Then if we want to find out what are all those departments which are grouped under the share set ID, then we just have to select this set ID share here, and we can see all the departments defined under this set ID. So these all departments are actually under one data set. These all departments are under one data set, which is share. Data set is identified by share set ID. So here, let's see, under share set ID there are three departments, and in this page there is a share set ID, and under that there are many departments. Okay. So if we want to find out what are all the departments which are there under other keys, other set IDs. So let's find out. Okay. Let's find out how many departments are there under this AUS 01 set ID. See, these many departments are there under AUS 01. Similarly here under X00 there are two departments. So these all departments are one data set, all these departments, and these all departments are identified by one set ID, which is AUS 01. Similarly here. So how many set IDs are there here? 4. And how many data sets are there? 4. So each data set is identified by one set ID. Okay. So we are done with the set ID and data set. Now let's see how set ID are created in PeopleSoft. How do we create them? Okay. Yep. So there is a place from where we create the set. There are two ways to create a set ID. Okay. One way is to create the set ID from its dedicated page, which is under this area, utilities, administration, and table set IDs. Okay. So this is the place where we create the set ID from. We just add a new value, add the set ID name, any value here, in year 1, just add some description over here, save it. Set ID is created. Okay. But there is another way of creating set ID. So when you create a business unit or reg region or company, then also a set ID is created. What do I mean by that? It's little confusing, right? We'll understand this when we understand what is the set control field. So the other way of creating set ID will be explained when we actually understand what is the set control field. Alright? So let's now check out, or let's now understand what is the set control field. Okay. Well, set control field, as the name suggests, set means data set, control means controlling the data sets, field means the field which controls the data sets. So these are data sets, right? One data set, second data set, third data set, fourth data set. So the field which control the access to these data sets is called the set control field. Okay. And there are three fields in PeopleSoft which do that: business unit, company, and reg region. So using these three fields, we can control access to these data sets. Okay. So let's say, let's talk about first business unit, and you can apply the same logic with the other set control fields. So let's say we have how many business units? As I took the example, right? There's a XYZ corporation, and we want that one country shouldn't be able to see control data defined for another country, right? So let's say we have the department table, okay, and in department table we have defined some n number of departments for all the countries. For India we have defined 4 departments, for USA we have defined some 10 departments, for UK we have defined 3 departments, and so on. And there are some departments which are defined under share set ID, which we want to share across these business unit, across this country. Now we don't want that the departments which are defined for India should be visible to USA. Okay, so what we will do, we will define 4 business units for all these countries, as we did in that example. Okay, so now we have to establish the table set control in such a way that India business unit shouldn't be able to see the department defined for USA. Okay, so how this department table will look like? In this table there will be 3 departments for India, and which will be identified by a set ID which is created for India. There will be some 10 departments for USA, which will be identified by set ID which is created for USA, and likewise for UK also. So one set ID has been created for each country, and under that set ID we added departments for those countries respectively. Now using table set control we can establish this control data access. Okay, so it can be done either by business unit or company or reg region. So we have added these departments under set IDs. Now these set IDs can be mapped to either of these set control fields. Okay, so these set IDs can be mapped to these set control fields, or business unit or company or reg region. You getting my point?
Yes.
Okay. But this is not done yet. We will see many more things. So first just understand that what are all the set control fields. Why do we use set control fields? Now these 3 are the set control fields. So now let's understand the table set control. Okay, let's now understand table set control. Now let's understand the table set control from business unit. With the business unit set control field, we will apply the same logic with the company and reg region. Okay, so as I said, table set control is a mechanism to control access to data sets in the control table. So now we want to establish a mechanism which can ensure which can control the access to these data sets in this department control table. Okay, so basically when we define any set control field, and table set control is always created with a set control field. Okay, so when we define any set control field, when I say set control field, the business unit or company or reg region, so when we define any of the set control value so the table set control mechanism is already created for that set control value. So let's say let's create a value, let's create a set control field value for business unit. So let's create or in other words, let's create a new business unit. Okay, so when we go to this organization, we have business unit page here. So when we create a business unit, so a business unit is already created for India. I hope so. It is created already. So we don't have to create it separately. So let's say we have created this business unit. We just now added it. Okay, description we added, India business unit. Now by default this set ID is there. Okay, so what it says, default record group set IDs. We'll understand this later, but first, before that, first understand that if this set ID which is mentioned here, the set ID which is mentioned here is not already created, is not already created, then system will create this set ID when we save this business unit, when we save this transaction. The system will automatically create a set ID with this name if it is not already created. If it is already created, which is in this case, so India set ID is already created, as you can see. If I click on the prompt, so you can select already created set ID or you can create a new one. So if you're selecting a created set ID like this one, you're going to save it. So a table set control mechanism will be created, and in that table set control mechanism there will be record groups, and for all those record groups the default set ID will be India. So if I open a separate page to explain it to you more clearly, so when we save that page, the table set control mechanism can be seen, table set control, from the table set control page. So what I'm saying is, when we save this, and when we come here, so for that set control feed value, for that set control value which is IND, a table set control mechanism will be created with the same name. So set control value, what is the set control value? IND. So if we open this, so I think this was already created, because if I think what we selected here, here I have changed it actually. It was already created because we already had the business unit with this name already created. So let's create a new business unit which is not already created to understand it in better way. So let's create a business unit IND IND 02. Let's create this one, and we can first check whether whether a table set control is created for this business unit or not, or for this set control value IND 02. It's not created. Now let's create a business unit over here with this name. So if you see, by default set ID, so when it says default record group set ID, what is that? So default record group set ID means, let's open one which is already created. So these are the record groups, and this is the set ID for these record groups. So what does it mean? When this business unit is created, a table set control will also be created with the same name, and in that table set control the default set ID for all this record group will be IND 02. That's what it means. Okay, so let's check first whether this set ID is already existing or not. Okay, so we'll first find it out on the prompt. It is not existing here, right? So when we save this page, when we save this business unit, let's India business 2. When we save it, what will happen? A set ID with this name is also created with this ID. Now let's see whether a table set control mechanism is created for this new set control value or IND 02 or not. IND 02. See, it has been created. And what was the default set ID for all these record groups? IND 02. So IND 02. So what does it mean? This set control value, which is IND 02, or this business unit, because this set control value is created for the business unit. So in other words, this business unit will have access to those data sets in the control tables, which are keyed by IND02 set ID. Okay, getting?
Yeah, I understood. One, we cannot give more than one set ID to a particular.
No, we cannot give. At a time, only one. Okay. So if we, so let's see in the department control table. So there is a department control table that we talked about. So this is the department control table. So what does it mean? This business unit will have access to those departments which are keyed by this set ID. Okay. So if we now check our department setup table, let's open a new window. Let's go to our department setup table and let's see if any department is created under the set ID IND02. Let's see. This is the set ID, right? That we just now created. See, the value which we enter here in this field is not the business unit, it is the set ID. Now, the set ID can be with the same name as the business unit. Okay, so don't get confused. Let's see if there is any department created. There is no department, right? So what does it mean? This business unit will not have access to any department because it has access to only those departments which are keyed by India IND02 set ID. But the truth is, under this set ID, there is no department created. So, in essence, that business unit isn't able to access any department in the department table. So, if we add a new department under this set ID, then that business unit will be able to see only one department. Got my point?
Can we change this in the department side also? Is it while creating a department, can we enter the what all business unit should have access to that particular department?
Where? In the department page?
When we create a new department,
No. In the department page, first of all, the department is created under the set IDs. Okay. So, see, you have to don't get confused with the set ID and the business unit. They're not same. Okay. Business unit is actually using set IDs to access the control data. Business unit is a different entity. Okay, it is actually using the set ID to access the control data. Okay, because control information is directly defined under set IDs. So now, if any third entity like business unit or company or reg region wants to access to this control data or department, then they have to do that through set ID. Okay, so let's say let's change it here. Share. Let's make it share. Now, what does it mean? What will happen now?
these whatever we uses this net ID of share will have access to this HR01.
So this is the record group. Okay, this is just a record. This is a collection of records. This is collection of all the control tables. Okay, so for now let's understand there is only one control table in this record group, department table. Okay, so now what does it mean when I changed it from IND02 to share? Then what does it mean? it means that this business unit now has access to those departments which are keyed by share set ID. Okay? If I change it to something else, then it will mean that the business unit will have access to those departments. Okay? So the access to the departments is entirely controlled by the set ID which we give here. So whatever we give here, so only those departments will be accessible to this business unit. Okay? So let's see this happening in the transaction pages, in the various pages. Then only you will be able to understand. Okay? So let's go to a page, a position data page. All right? Let's see that in the position data page how it works. Let's open any existing position. Let's bring this page into correct history mode. So currently, what is the business unit selected over here? This one, right? Let's change it to our India 02. Okay? Now let's see what happens. Let's click on the department. See? This business unit is able to see all those departments which are keyed under share set ID. That's what it says. That's what this page says, right? That's what I said. This business unit will be able to see all those departments which are keyed by the share set ID, right? Getting?
Yes, I understand.
Now, if I change it to what? AUS 01. Save it. Now what will it mean? What will it mean?
The position management, if we give the India 02 as the set ID for
Mhm.
when you
First tell me here, what will it mean? What does it mean when I change it to AUS 01? So what will be the meaning of it?
means this PO has access to departments for which the set ID is AUS 01.
Correct. So if we close this and click on this prompt again, see, now it is able to see all those departments which are keyed under this set ID, right? This is how it's done. Okay? So we are controlling access to these data sets, right? For business unit, right? We are controlling the access. Now we discussed about table set control. Now what is table set sharing? So table set sharing is nothing but the controlled information that we define in a particular control table can be shared across the business units. Okay, so if we have defined a department for India, 10 departments, that can be shared by the, or that can be shared somewhere. I mean, we have defined department in one place and we are actually reusing it to for some other place. So that's what is table set sharing. So we are actually sharing the table set or data sets in the control tables here, right? We define some department under AUS 01, and now if we want to reuse that, or we want to share that set of departments to USA, then we do that, right? That's what we did actually. We just change that set ID over here, then USA will be able to see that set of departments, right? So it is also called the table set sharing. Now, the one question which one thing which I wanted to also mention, that why we are using record sets here, record groups here. What are the record groups? We have that term also in our in this page, record groups, right? So the four elements which we were trying to understand were set ID, data set control field we understood, and record group. So one thing which was missing, which I didn't discuss, is record group. Now, what is the record group? Record group is the collection of similar records, which similar control records or control tables which share the same characteristics. So what we have done here, there are many control tables, and we have to ensure, we have to establish, or we have to enforce access to the data sets defined under these control tables, so that they're not, shared by anyone. So, but let's say there are 10 control tables who share the same characteristics. Now, we have two ways. Either we can define this table set control mechanism for all these 10 control tables individually, or we can group them into one record group, and we can define, or we can establish a table set control mechanism on that record group, so which ultimately be applicable to all the control tables which are there under that record group. Okay, so let's say I have a group in WhatsApp, and I have to share a meeting ID with them. So I have two options. I mean, I have 10 people who are actually willing to attend my session, and I have to share the meeting ID with all those 10 people. Then I have two options, right? One, I can share the meeting ID with each one of them separately. Second, I can create a group in WhatsApp or in Facebook, and I can share the meeting ID with that group, so that everybody can see, right? So which one is the easier approach? Second one. That's what we are doing here. We are just grouping all the control tables in different record groups, and we are actually applying this table set control mechanism directly in the record groups. So all the control tables which are there in the record groups, which have that mechanism established for them. Okay.
Do we do this in center? Defining what all comes under
Sorry, yeah, so we define the record groups from this page. You add a new record group, let's say HR_012. It is already there actually, let's give a different name. It is already there. It's 23. Create record group, then add the individual tables, the control tables which you want to add in this record group. So this is how we create the record group. Okay. All right. Hello. Okay. So this is how we do this. Now, yeah. So similarly, just like we understood this with the set control field business unit, there are other set control fields also, right? Reg region and company. So we can understand everything what we discussed with the reg region also, because reg region also is a set control field, and the company also. So if you remember, when we define from where we define the reg region, from here, set up HRMS, install, and regulatory region. Okay, so if we define a new reg region, USA 1, see here also we give the default set ID. So what does it mean? This USA regulatory region will have access to all those data sets, all those departments in the department table which are keyed by USA set ID. So again, if the set ID doesn't exist already, it will be created from here if we click on the save page, because this is again a set control field. Similarly, company. So when we define a company also, the same goes for company. Where is the company? Okay, here it is. So if we add a new company, say for USA 1, we are adding a new company. So here we select the default set ID, default record group set ID. That is what we select here. We click on this page. I mean, if we do everything and we mention a set ID over here which doesn't already exist, and we save this company, then one set ID will be created automatically, and it will mean that the company will have access to those departments in the control table which are keyed by USA set ID. Now, one thing here I would like to clarify that by default, see, we have 3 set control fields, but we cannot control access to data sets in a control table by all these 3 set control fields at once. At any point of time, only one of them will be used to control the access to data sets, only one set control field. And by default, business unit is the field which does that. So by default, as per PeopleSoft delivered functionality, business unit is the set control field which is used to control access to data sets in the control table by default. Okay, so as you have seen that. So let's open App Designer for a moment, and let's understand something. So what we are trying to understand here is, so you have seen this, right? In this page we have seen when we clicked on this department, by default a US 01 has come. Okay, so now when we change something in the set control value, set control table, set control area, it is locked off actually. So when we change something in the table set control, set up people tools, utilities, administration, table set control for India 01, So we saw this in the department. So I just took an example of department table, so the same goes for all the control tables. So we changed here, okay, did we change it to KPIND? So first we changed it to share, right? And then we saw how this affects the access in the position data page. So this set control value is created for business unit IND01. So now when we created a business unit here, so for business unit this has been created, this set control value has been created, okay. So then how did PeopleSoft identify that I have to control the data access in the department table with the business unit? Now how do PeopleSoft identify that it has to control data access in the department table with the business unit? I mean, the business unit should be the controlling factor. So how does it identify that? So if you open the department table, properties of department table, if I open that here, department table, no, not this one. Not this one, actually. This is not a department table. DEPT TBO. This is the department table. So by default, business unit is actually the set control field which is used to control access, and this is how it is done from this area. Set control field is business unit. So for all these control tables, the set control field is business unit. So this is how system identifies that by default business unit will be the controlling factor, controlling field for the data defined in these control tables. If we change it to location, if we change it to reg region, then reg region, when we create a new reg region, so what happens? First understand this. So if we have set up this set control field to business unit, so what will it mean actually? What will it mean? That in any PeopleSoft page, okay, if let's go to organizational development. So log in. What is happening? It is not locked. So what does it mean? That in any page, in any PeopleSoft page where there is a department table field, okay, so let's say this is the page in PeopleSoft, this is one of those pages. Now in this page there are two fields, business unit and department. So if we have kept this business unit as the set control field for the department table, then it means that PeopleSoft will so when we click on department prompt, so the set control field which we mentioned there will be controlling the access to these, to to the departments actually. So see, this field is actually read only. So this field is actually read only. So since we have mentioned set control field as business unit, so the table set control which is created for business unit is actually controlling access to this department table. So that's why whenever we make changes to business unit, then only the prompt for this field changes. If we make changes in the reg region, right? Reg region is also there, right here. It is there, right? So let's change the reg region. Let's make it to India. It is India 1. I mean, if there is any one, US. Okay, let's change it to Thailand. Okay, and then click on department. Is it affecting this? Which we see, reg region is also set control field, right? But even though we change reg region here, it is not affecting this, right? It is not affecting this prompt here. Getting my point or not? Okay, so why it is happening? Why it is being affected only with the change of business unit? Because in the record definition of department table, we have set the set control field as business unit. If we change it to reg region, if we change this field to reg region, then whenever we change reg region here, then only it will affect the prompt which is displayed when we click on this. Then only it will affect the department prompt. Then it will not be affected with the business unit change. Okay? And same goes to company. Company is also there, right? No, company is not directly there. It is there actually. So anyway, if the company was there similar to this reg region, so and if we had made this set control field as company, then whenever we had changed the company, this prompt would have changed. So this is how PeopleSoft know that which set control field will affect the data access in the control table. Which set control field? If all the set control fields are here, department, business unit, reg region, company, then which one of them will affect the access to the department that is decided by this value? Okay, this is how it's done. All right. Okay. There is one more thing I wanted to discuss about set IDs, which I missed out. Which was when we create a new set ID, right? When we create a new set ID from the set ID page, okay, we went to people tools, utilities, administration, and table set ID. Okay, let's say we're creating a set ID here, THA. Let's say we're creating a set ID, THA. It is already there. Basically, create this one. One minute, huh? So set ID for Thailand. Save it. So when we create a set ID from the set ID page, table set ID page, then we will not be able. Now, why do we create set ID? To create the control data, right? To add the control rows or the adding new control rows in the control tables, right? So for example, let's come into the department page again. So we have created a set ID now, THA1. So will we be able to create a new department under that set ID? What do you think? Will we be able to create? Let's see if it is visible in here. THA. Is it there? This one we didn't create this one, right? The name was different. This one was the description that we had given was set ID for Thailand. So don't get confused, right? It is not available here. So we have created a new set ID, but it is not available to us to create a new control value, new control data, right? We cannot create a new location under the set ID. We cannot create a new department under this set ID. We cannot create a job code under this set ID. Now, why are we not able to create it? Because this set ID has not been tagged or has not been mapped with a set control field. Okay? So if we don't map a set ID with a set control field, then system understand that if we don't map it to any of the set control field, then who will have access to the control data that we are going to create under this set ID? For example, if we don't map it to the business unit, any business unit, and if we add a new row in the department table under this set ID, then which business unit will have access to it? No one will have access to it, right? So there is no point in creating a new department under this set ID unless this set ID is mapped with a business unit, right? So that's why system doesn't allow us to create a new department or any other control value for that matter under a new set ID unless this set ID is mapped with a business unit. Okay? So if we map this set ID with a business unit, then after that we will be able to create a new department under the set ID. Okay? So what we have to do? We have to map this set ID with a business unit. And how we do that? We just need to go to again foundation tables, business unit. We can either add this set ID or we can map this set ID with an existing business unit, or we can create a new business unit. Let's create a new business unit, THA01. It is already there, I guess. So THA1. Let's create this one. And add the set ID over here. See we created this one, right? So it was coming, we created this set ID already, THA01, THA1 actually, not 01, set ID for Thailand. This is what we created there, right? THA1. This is what we created. Sorry, I have to business unit Thailand. This set ID is already created, right? Now we can use this set ID to create any new control value. So if we go to the department page, we add a new, if we THA1 lookup, it is available here, right? And now we can add a new department under this set ID. Understood? Alright, so these were the important concepts. Now let's understand the person and position model. Okay? So we understood the things up to here. We did an exercise also. We understood everything here. Everything is there in this diagram. I mean, this study material is very good. You can understand it very well. The concept that we just discussed are very well explained in these study materials. So don't worry if you tend to forget the things. And I will be sharing the recording session also with you so that you don't lose anything. Okay. So let's now understand PeopleSoft person and position model. Okay. So there are two ways by which we can drive our PeopleSoft human resource system, right? One is person model and one is position model. Now, what is person model? So when we drive our PeopleSoft HRMS through job codes, then we call it as a person model. Now, what is the meaning of that? So assume that there are two companies, XYZ and ABC. There are two organizations, XYZ and ABC. Now we'll understand what is the difference between these two organizations. Now the organization XYZ is a big consulting company where the resource demand is fluid, because being a consulting company, Very often they get new clients, they lose the clients too. Sometimes the contracts with existing clients also change, and all these incidents trigger requirement of hiring, terminating resources, and creating, dropping new or existing job positions of different type. Now, what did you understand by this statement? So there is a XYZ, which is a big consulting company. Let's just like TCS or Accenture or Infosys. You know, they get new clients every quarter. They get many clients every quarter. They you know, lose the clients too, right? And they and they also change the contract with their existing clients. So with the existing clients, their contract also changes, right? So let's say for now, TCS has a client from USA, and that client has handed over 10 activities to TCS. But after 1 year, the client found out that the TCS is not performing well, so they, you know, pulled off 5 activities out of 10. So now they have handed over 5 activities to TCS. So only 5 are there now. So 5 have been dropped off. Now, due to that, in TCS there will be, you know, the TCS can or cannot, you know, fire people from that project because they don't need them anymore, because now the amount of work which is there for TCS is less than what was there before, right? So all these are, you know, occurrences in any company. They get clients, they lose clients, they change contract with the existing clients. So because of that, lot of firing, lot of termination, and a lot of new job creations happen. So they regularly used to create new positions for new projects, right? If they get a new project, then they hire people on, they do a mass hire, they hire many resources, right? And for those resources they create various profiles, right? And on those profiles they hire resources. So this is a very fluid demand, right? It changes a lot. It's very fluid. Sometimes it is very much, sometimes it is very less. So when it is very much, then they have to create those many profiles or those many vacancies. When it is very less, they have to drop them off, right? So if this is the nature of a company, then in this case we will use person model. So what we will do, what usually happens, they create some generic job codes, and under those generic job codes they hire resources. Even though in the project resources have different roles to play. One resource is for you know, software developer, one is functional consultant, one is tester, and one is team lead. Though they have different roles in the project, but their designation in the company is same. It is system engineer or senior system engineer, right? So what they do, they will create a job code, generic job code, system engineer, and they will hire resources in the same job code, although the role of those resources is different in the project, right? So they have created a generic job code and they are hiring into that. So they don't have to bother about, or they don't have to you know, worry about creating a new position which has different name and profile and all. They can just create one job code and hire as many resources as they want, right? Because the demand is very fluid. This is the person model. So all these 4 resources, they have their different roles in the project, but they are known as system engineer. Their job code is same. Okay, let's understand position model. The other organization, which is ABC, it's a product based company in automobile industry, and there are various departments at various locations, and being a product based company, each department has some fixed positions, and these positions doesn't tend to change more often. Okay, so let's say there is a product based company, and take any product based company. Let's take Ford. Ford is a product based company and it has various departments. So out of those departments, there is one department which is IT department. So IT department actually takes care of IT related things for Ford. it manages the IT data. Now, since this IT department is actually serving to Ford, is providing services to Ford, so there will be fixed positions, right, in this company, in this IT department. There will not be more resources, right? Unlike any other consulting company, there will be limited project managers, there will be limited software and developers, there will be limited team leads, there will be limited administrators, right? So the positions will be fixed. They will not hire so since the position is fixed, so the demand for new resources is also fixed. So if a person is leaving the company, if a software engineer is leaving the company, so that position is now vacant. They have to hire a new person to fill that position, right? So if that is the case, so what they do, they still create a job code, system engineer, generic job code, but under that job code they create 4 positions. I mean, they create different positions for different roles. In the previous example we have seen, though in each project all these 4 resources have their different role, but they are still known as software engineer. So one resource is software the role of one resource is software engineer. Hello? Yes, Lakshmi. So what we were discussing? Position model, right? I think you just dropped off. You didn't lose anything, right? Okay. So unlike the previous one, we will create 4 specific positions for each of these roles, because I know that the positions is gonna be fixed. They are not going to change. If a person is dropping off, if a person is resigning from a particular role, then that role is vacant. Now we have to fill up that role. But it's not like sometimes you have to fire all these people and so all these positions will be vacant, and then we have to hire again those 4 people. I mean, the demand is very fixed here. It is not changing. It is not fluid. So we created 4 positions, right, for the same job code, system engineer. Unlike the previous one where we had only one job code, I mean we had created the job code, and on the same job code we were hiring the people, right? So now here in this case, each of these positions will be there. So now we will be filling these positions with the people. So we will fill up these positions with resource, and if the resource is going from the company, I mean if resource is leaving the company, then that position will be vacant. Now we have to fill that position again. Okay, so we are more focusing on position here. We are not focusing on resources. If the position is vacant, we have to fill that position, and whatever changes are we doing, we have to make with the position alone. I mean we have to make with the position, not the person. So if you just compare these 2 diagrams, these are very neatly created diagrams. Here you are seeing under the generic job code we have created 4 system engineers. I mean they are all called system engineers. They are all called system engineers, but they are playing different roles. One is tech lead, one is system engineer, one is you can say tester, or one is functional consultant. Yet they are called system engineer only, but here in the position model they are in those specific positions, right? You're getting what I'm saying? Huh?
Yes.
You understood, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So this is what person and position model is. Now establishment IDs. Well, establishment IDs are so let's say in Noida we have an special economic zone. Okay. So what are the special economic zone in India? So these economic zones have some specific, they are actually, they perform their business under specific, authority. So they perform their business with some rules and regulations, right? So that's why they're called special economic zone. The government rules. They are under a zone where the some rules and regulations are there, right? So that's why we call them special economic zones. And under those rules and terms, they perform their business. So if there are locations or sites which are in such a way that they are with a specific economic rule, or they are a zone where the government rule is different, under which they will be performing their business, then that will be called a establishment in PeopleSoft. For that we will create a new establishment. So in India there are various cities where the economic zones are there. So those economic zones are what? Example of establishments. So companies have their offices in those economic zones, right? So let's say in Noida we have a economic zone, right? We have SEZ1, SEZ2, SEZ3. These three are SEZs. They are operating their business, or they're conducting their business under different terms and conditions, right, with the authorities. So that's why they're called economic zones. So for these three economic zones we will create three establishment, right? So this is how we define establishments in PeopleSoft. See, regulatory region is more of a tax related thing. So in entire country we have taxes, right? Tax and there are some other government rules, right? But SEZs are, well, when we talk about taxes, what are the taxes we're talking about? Tax which we pay, the employees pay, the employers pay, right? So these are some rules and regulations, or tax rules at the country level, or any region where these tax rules are specific, different. But economic zones are different. If you read out about the economic zones, then you will find out what is the difference between an economic zone and a tax rule. Okay, so in Noida we have these economic zones. So they perform their business under some terms and conditions. So it's like they cannot have more than let's say 100 or 200 resources, or more than 200 employees in particular unit, or they cannot so I mean I don't remember all the rules, but this is one of those rules. So these are some different rules, right? I mean they have different terms and condition with the authority. They are performing their business with the different terms and condition with the authority. But when we talk about reg regions are more like tax rules. They are more related to the tax rules. Okay, yeah. So this is how we define the establishments. Okay, now with this the day one session is over. Any question? So I'll be sharing with this session recording with you. Okay, and this study material also I'll be sharing it with you tomorrow. Okay. All right. So you don't have any question?
Not right now. Watch it with
Okay then. Yep. It was I think good session. Thanks. Thanks for joining, Lakshmi. Okay. So we'll meet up again on next Saturday. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Bye. Bye.